Ministers being urged to scrap yesterday's moderated exam results and revert back to teachers' predictions. We're now joined by Megan Brooks and her mum, Sharon. Good morning to you both. Megan opened her results yesterday on the show. She was downgraded from being predicted 3 A's to an A and 2 B's, and that means she didn't get to her university of choice. And it was just heartbreaking when we saw that reaction, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Megan's PE teacher, Tony Knight, is here. We're going to be speaking to her a little bit later.
And we're also joined by Jacob Keddy, who's in Harpenden, who was downgraded from an A and 2 B's to a BCD, meaning he can't go to Liverpool University to do his dream course, mechanical engineering. And also Grania Hallahan, who might be able to help these students, hopefully, as she's senior editor at the Times Education Supplement and has written guides for schools on appealing exam grades. So we'll be speaking to her about what options students have at this stage if they haven't got the grades that they were anticipating. Megan, let's come to you first. Good morning to you. How are you feeling now? You've had a day to process these results, and I have to say, you know, my heart went out to you yesterday because we could see how upset you were.
Yeah, it's still a bit disappointing, but I'm probably not as upset as I was yesterday. I just can't get through to Leeds Uni to speak to anyone, so that's just the problem that I'm having at the minute, so don't really know what to do.
So you don't know yet whether you will still be able to go to Leeds, even though you didn't get the grades that you needed?
Yeah, well, depending on the White College's appeal, I'm hoping maybe Leeds will let me in if my grades get bumped up. I don't know, but I literally can't get through to anyone, so I don't know what to do.
So you were downgraded from an A and 2 B's to B, C, D, and that meant you couldn't go to the university. Oh, actually, no, that's not you. You had an A and 2 B's, and you couldn't get to Leeds. That's it, the university that you wanted to go to.
Yeah.
How unfair does that feel to you? Now it's sort of sunk in a bit.
Well, my teachers predicted me 3 A's, and surely my teachers know me the most, that they know what I'm going to get. So I don't know how they've downgraded me so much, because surely my teachers know what I'm going to get.
Well, your mum's sitting alongside you there. How angry do you feel about this, Sharon?
Really angry and frustrated. An A and 2 B's for any student is fantastic, but Megan has always known that she needed 3 A's to get into the University of Leeds. So she's worked for the last 2 years towards those grades, and that's been reflected in the teacher predictions that they submitted, which was the 3 A's. So to then open the envelope yesterday to an A and 2 B's, it's just really, really disappointing. And the frustrating thing we've got now is 3 of us spent yesterday on the phone trying to speak to somebody at Leeds, can't get through to anybody. We've sent an email, and as yet we've not heard anything back. We just want to speak to somebody to find out what Megan's options are, but at this moment in time we've not been able to speak to anybody.
So you're not getting the answers that you want. I really empathise with you. As a parent, I've got a 22-year-old and a 17-year-old, and there's something that you feel stronger about your children than about yourself, don't you? You feel so caring, and it makes you feel so angry, doesn't it?
Well, it does, but also it's just completely been taken out of Megan's hands. She was working towards her 3 A's and she was on target for her 3 A's, and I'm sure if she sat the exam she would have got her 3 A's, and that's why the teachers gave her the 3 A's. But to have it taken out of her hands and then to be downgraded, it's just very, very unfair, I think.
It's a really difficult situation to be in, isn't it? Well, let's go over to Megan's PE teacher, Tony Knight, who's also joining us this morning. Good morning to you, because how do you feel about this situation that Megan has been downgraded from what she was predicted?
I mean, Megan put it perfectly. We just feel helpless at the minute. There's a lack of information out there. We're here sat on objective evidence that Megan would have been more than capable of getting an A grade, if not higher. And it's just unfair that her life pathway from now on is potentially going to be affected by this government statistical model, which has clear flaws to the system. Now, we're not taking it away from Megan. She's done fantastic with those grades. But ultimately, those are not the grades that Megan would have achieved had she had the opportunity to sit those exams.
The feeling was that teachers had been over-generous with their predictions, so that's why this needed to balance it up. But in Megan's case, you don't believe that was the case. You believe that her predictions were the ones that she deserved to get.
Absolutely. I mean, just taking up here, A level, for example, Megan's coursework came out in the highest band. Her practical performance in netball, you know, she plays at a national level. The netball squad at our college finished 5th nationally last year. So we've got objective evidence there. And everything towards her exams, every assessment that Megan has sat has been at an A grade level. And taking into account her attitude, her attendance and her mature approach to everything, we have every confidence that that A grade, if not higher, would have been achieved. Jacob,
let's move on to Jacob. Thank you, Tony. Jacob, you're one of the other, well, so many other students who are affected by this. You were downgraded from an A and 2 Bs to B, C, D. That meant you couldn't go to Liverpool University and do your dream course of mechanical engineering. I mean, that is gutting. How do you feel?
Yeah, well, my teachers put on A, B, C for me. Those are the grades they believed that I could get based on the work that I've been doing throughout my 2 years. That's what I've worked really hard for, put all my work in. And then when I got my grades back and I looked at my form of B, C, D, I almost couldn't believe it, because it meant that my physics grade, my teachers put that was my B, and then I was downgraded 2 grades down to a D, that's a completely life-changing change in my results. It meant that I was going to have a possibility to go to my dream university on a fantastic course in a city that I felt that I would really be able to be part of. And now, because of these results, based on the government shift that's happened, I now can't get on my course.
It's a really difficult situation, isn't it? Let's go over now to Gráinne Hallahan, who hopefully will be able to offer some help. So she's senior editor at the Times Education Supplement. Morning to you, Gráinne. So what can you say to Jacob and Megan and all the other students that are watching who will have been affected by this? Because we understand that 40% of students saw their predicted grades downgraded because of this algorithm. So there'll be an awful lot of students out there who potentially couldn't get to where they needed to get to. What should they do?
Those poor students who must be feeling so confused and so upset about reading their results because it doesn't reflect what they felt they were capable of doing. They've not had a chance to actually sit in the exam, and therefore the exams grades they've got yesterday just they don't feel connected to. But what can you do? So the appeals process changed when they made the announcement that you can use a valid mock grade. But it sounds like it's good news for the 2 students we've got on today, because they'll be able to use their mock grade, hopefully, because it counts as a valid mock result, and we're still waiting for more details as to what a valid mock might be. But hopefully they'll be able to appeal and use that grade and take that forward. The other appeal routes will be all done through the school. So you need to contact your school if you feel you need to appeal your result because you don't think the process has been followed properly. Perhaps the grade just makes no sense to you and you think it might be an administrative error. Your school will act as the centre, or school or college act as the centre, and they'll appeal your grade through the exam board.
And what about, I mean, we heard there from Megan, she was having great difficulty in getting through to Leeds to find out if they would accept her, even though she hadn't quite got the grades that she needed to. It's going to be a tricky time at the moment, isn't it? Those lines of communication, because an awful lot of people are going to be wanting to contact their university. Have you got any advice about sort of the best way to help that process work?
So Megan's got to keep on doing what she did yesterday, keep on trying to contact Leeds University. We're hearing good things from the universities that actually people are getting onto their courses and they expect lots of people to get their first choice university still. There's Clearing and Clearing Plus that you can use. You need to go onto your UCAS profile and have a look. If you've been disappointed yesterday, you can use Clearing Plus and they'll match you up to courses that will accept you. But do keep calling your first choice universities and your insurance choice universities to see if they can make an exception for you.
Gráinne, it's the timing, though, isn't it? Because we don't know how long the appeals process will take, and if you reset your exams in autumn, you've missed that year of university. The other options aren't great, are they, in terms of timing?
They're really not. And who could expect a student to do well in the autumn exams when they've not been in school since March? They've not had the easiest time since March either. There's been a pandemic. They're going to be in a really challenging job market. I think that the autumn exams is as good as a safety net for some students, but for many students, it just isn't going to be practical.
OK, let's go back. Just a quick word again from you, Megan. So you've listened to what Gráinne has had to say. So she's saying keep going with what you're doing and hopefully you will get that place. Has you given you some hope that, you know, that might be an option for you, that you can just push forward and hopefully get that place?
Yeah, we'll just keep trying today and hopefully something happens.